Welcome to Zoe Stories. My girlfriend caught me cheating. Now I'm her personal Barbie. I never thought my secret would catch up to me like this. Not like this. My name is Jason Carter, 24 years old, sales consultant at a mid-sized tech company in downtown Chicago. On the surface, I looked like every other young professional, pressed button-down shirts, black slacks, a meticulously kept watch glinting on my wrist. I knew how to smile at clients, close deals, and work a room when I needed to. But when I got home, behind closed doors, a different side of me emerged. Hidden in the back of my closet, tucked behind a fortress of suits and ties, was my real treasure trove. Dresses in soft pastels and sparkling heels, a collection of delicate lingerie, boxes of makeup carefully organized by brand and color. I wasn't a crossdresser by necessity, or even rebellion. For me, it was pure passion, a secret thrill that lit up something deep inside me. Every time I slipped into those silky garments, applied a thin line of eyeliner across my lids, and painted my lips a daring shade of pink, I felt a part of myself awaken, a part that Jason could never show the world. Emma, my girlfriend of 3 years, didn't know. At least, I thought she didn't. Emma was everything a guy like me could want. Funny, confident, gorgeous. She had that casual beauty that seemed effortless, like she just woke up looking perfect. She worked as a freelance graphic designer, her schedule more fluid than mine, often working from our apartment. Our relationship had always been good, solid, but it wasn't perfect. Lately, we'd been distant. Maybe that's why I made the worst mistake of my life. Maybe that's why, one night after a stupid argument, I crossed a line I could never uncross. Her name was Lila, a woman from the office, flirty and intoxicatingly dangerous. It wasn't love. It wasn't even connection. It was reckless, a flash of poor judgment fueled by anger and pride. A single night. That's all it was supposed to be. But guilt clung to me like a second skin after that. Every kiss from Emma felt like a lie. Every "I love you" was a brick added to the wall I was building between us. And the worst part? Even after cheating, I couldn't stop hiding who I really was. The city in winter had a certain charm. Glittering lights strung along the streets, the smell of roasted chestnuts wafting from food carts, couples huddled together against the cold. Our apartment was cozy, a little one-bedroom tucked above a bakery, with windows that steamed up when we cooked dinner together. But no matter how warm it was inside, I felt frozen. Trapped. Tonight, Emma was supposed to be out, working late with a client, or so she said. I told myself it was safe. I could indulge, just for an hour. Let myself feel free. I needed it like oxygen. I waited until the clock hit 8 p.m., just to be sure. Then I bolted to the closet, heart hammering like a guilty drumbeat in my chest. There it all was, my hidden life waiting for me. I ran my fingers over a soft pink dress I'd never had the courage to wear before. The fabric was delicate, almost whisper-thin, with tiny rhinestones sewn into the bodice. I bit my lip. Could I? Should I? The answer was already decided. I peeled off my normal clothes, the ones Jason wore, and stepped into the dress. It slid over my body like a sigh. I twisted in front of the mirror, heart skipping when the skirt flared around my thighs. A pang of excitement and terror hit me in equal measure. I grabbed my makeup kit, quickly applying foundation, mascara, a playful pop of glitter on my eyelids. Finally, I slipped into a pair of nude stilettos. I wasn't Jason anymore. I wasn't even a shadow of him. In the mirror, a beautiful girl stared back at me, cheeks flushed, lips parted slightly, a nervous, excited gleam in her eyes. It was supposed to be my night, my secret, safe moment of joy. I had no idea the storm that was about to come crashing down around me. The heels made a soft click against the hardwood floor as I moved carefully around the bedroom. Every step sent a thrill through me, an intoxicating mixture of fear and freedom. My heart raced, but not from guilt this time. From pure, unfiltered exhilaration. I twirled in front of the mirror again, the skirt lifting just enough to show the lacy hem of the stockings I wore underneath. For a moment, it was easy to forget about everything else. Emma, Lila, the lies piling up around me like invisible debris. In this moment, I was alive. In this moment, I was myself. I tiptoed into the living room, a dangerous move. The curtains were drawn, but still, if anyone looked in, they'd see Jason Carter transformed into someone else entirely. Someone beautiful. Someone delicate. I collapsed onto the couch, feeling the way the dress folded around me, the way the stilettos made me sit differently, the way the makeup made every blink feel like a flutter. I was grinning without even realizing it. God, if only Emma could see me like this. I stopped. The thought froze me. No. That was the one line I could never cross. Emma loved Jason, the man. Not this creation. If she ever found out, I didn't even want to think about it. Still, I couldn't help but wonder. What would it be like to show her? To be accepted instead of hiding? I shook the thought away. That wasn't reality. Reality was a ticking clock and a guilty conscience. I needed to savor this moment before it slipped away. I grabbed my phone and snapped a few secret selfies, my heart pounding harder with every click. Posing in my pink dress, one heel kicked up playfully, lipstick glinting under the warm apartment lights. It was stupid, reckless. And it felt amazing. Maybe just one more. One more moment of joy before returning to the prison of Jason Carter. But fate has a cruel sense of humor. Just as I adjusted the camera for one last picture, I heard the front door rattle. Keys jangling. The sound of Emma's voice outside, laughing. My blood turned to ice. I scrambled to my feet, almost twisting my ankle in the heels. No, 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 no. She wasn't supposed to be home until midnight. My mind raced as I staggered back toward the bedroom, fumbling with a tiny zipper on the side of my dress. It was stuck. Of course it was stuck. I yanked harder. Nothing. Panic set in. I kicked off the heels, barely managing to grab a hoodie and some sweatpants from the dresser. There was no time to remove the makeup. No time to hide the dress. I yanked the hoodie over my head, trying desperately to mask the rhinestones glittering underneath. The door swung open. Emma stepped inside, cheeks pink from the cold, her eyes scanning the apartment. I froze halfway to the closet, my heart hammering so loudly I was sure she could hear it. "Hey, babe," she said cheerily, kicking off her boots. "Client canceled. Figured I'd surprise you." I croaked out a noise that could barely pass for hey. She frowned. "You okay? You look flushed." I waved my hand dismissively, backing toward the closet, the too short hoodie riding up and almost exposing the dress hem underneath. "Just hot in here. You know, heating." Emma shrugged, tossing her bag onto the couch. "Weird. It feels freezing." I clutched the fabric tighter around me, praying she wouldn't notice the glitter at my wrists or the lipstick staining my mouth. Every second stretched out painfully. Every breath felt like a gamble. Inside, I was a war zone. A part of me wanted to come clean, tell her everything. But the louder, terrified part of me just screamed hide. 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 Emma glanced toward the kitchen. "I'm starving. You want me to make something?" Sure." I blurted out too quickly. She cocked an eyebrow but didn't push it. Instead, she padded into the kitchen, humming to herself. I bolted into the bedroom and locked the door behind me, pressing my back to the wood like it could somehow shield me from the consequences of my own stupidity. In the mirror, I was a nightmare. Mascara slightly smudged, glitter catching the light in the worst possible ways, lipstick uneven after the frantic struggle. I looked like someone who had something to hide. And Emma wasn't stupid. Transformation moments. I tore off the heels and tossed them under the bed. I yanked at the hoodie and sweatpants, peeling them off as fast as I could, finally managing to wrestle the dress up and over my head. My skin tingled where the fabric had kissed it. I could still smell the faint floral scent of the dress, still feel the ghost of the heels reshaping my posture. I scrambled into a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, hastily scrubbing at my face with tissues, trying to wipe away the most obvious traces of makeup. It wasn't perfect. Nothing about this was perfect. I heard Emma moving around in the kitchen, opening cabinets, clattering pans. Casual. Unaware. For now. But dread coiled tighter and tighter in my gut. Because if there was one thing I knew about Emma, it was that she always knew when I was lying. She could smell secrets like blood in the water. A knock sounded at the bedroom door.
Jay?
You good? I cleared my throat, praying my voice would sound normal. Yeah, just changing. Be out in a sec. Okay, she said slowly. Hey, did you move the pillows on the couch? It looks different.
Shit.
I'd been sitting there earlier in the dress. Maybe the pillows were mussed. Maybe there was glitter left behind. I didn't know. Yeah, just straightening up earlier, I called out. A pause. A silence that stretched too long. Okay, she said again, voice unreadable. I finished wiping my face, but the damage was done. My eyes were red and puffy, my cheeks too flushed, my lips stained pink no matter how hard I scrubbed. I opened the door and stepped out, forcing a casual smile. Emma was standing in the hallway, holding 2 plates of pasta, studying me with a look that made my stomach twist. You look different, she said lightly. I laughed too loudly. Nah, just tired. She handed me a plate, her fingers brushing mine. I flinched like she'd burn me. Another pause. She tilted her head slightly. You sure everything's okay? Yeah, I said, stuffing a forkful of pasta into my mouth to avoid answering. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. And in that moment I knew. Emma suspected something. Maybe not the whole truth yet, but the walls were closing in. And it was only a matter of time before everything came crashing down. The next few days passed like walking a tightrope over a pit of knives. Emma was different. Not cold, exactly, but sharper. Watching me with a kind of quiet intensity. Waiting. Every moment we spent together, I could feel her eyes on me, studying, calculating. And I hated it. It was only a matter of time before she found out. And yet, the more I tried to act normal, the guiltier I looked. I spent hours scrubbing the apartment, terrified she'd find some trace I'd missed, a fleck of glitter, a stray eyelash, a smear of lipstick on the sink. The worst part? I couldn't stop thinking about that night. The thrill. The way the dress had made me feel. The way I had felt. It gnawed at me, even while the fear of exposure consumed me. I wasn't just scared of Emma finding out. I was scared of what it meant about me. It all came crashing down one Thursday evening. Emma was working late, or so I thought. I was alone, antsy, unable to sit still. The gnawing urge to feel that freedom again too powerful to resist. I told myself I'd just look. Just touch the dress. Feel the fabric. No harm in that, right?
Wrong.
Minutes later, I stood in front of the mirror again, the dress hugging my body like a second skin, my legs once again sheathed in silky stockings, my hair pinned back in a way that framed my face softer, prettier. I was breathtaking and terrified. The buzz of my phone startled me so badly, I nearly fell out of the heels. It was a text from Emma. Be home in 5. Can't wait to see you, Red Heart. 5 minutes. 5 minutes before the world ended. I ripped at the dress, desperate to get it off, hands shaking, heart hammering. The zipper stuck again. Panic flared.
No.
Not now. Not like this. I stumbled into the bathroom, yanking at the fabric, cursing under my breath. Finally, the dress slipped free. I balled it up and stuffed it under the sink, scrubbing at my face with trembling hands. By the time Emma opened the door, I was in a hoodie and jeans again, sitting stiffly on the couch. Or so I thought. She stepped inside, carrying 2 bags of takeout, humming softly to herself. I forced a smile. Hey. She set the bags down and turned to me, smiling too, a smile that was too wide, too knowing. Hey, babe. What you been up to? Nothing, I said way too fast. She sauntered over, every movement deliberate, slow. My skin prickled. She leaned down, sniffing lightly near my face. I jerked back instinctively. That's weird, she said with a mock frown. You smell like perfume. My blood ran cold. Must be the air freshener, I stammered. She nodded slowly.
Right.
Air freshener. Her eyes gleamed. I knew in that moment. She knew. Dinner was a nightmare. Every word out of my mouth felt wrong, every gesture clumsy and forced. Emma, meanwhile, was the picture of casual sweetness, too casual. "So," she said between bites of pad thai, "anything exciting happened today?" "Nope," I said, shoveling food into my mouth. She smiled, took a sip of her wine. "Any hobbies you want to tell me about?" she asked sweetly. I nearly choked. "What?" "You know, like, I don't know, collecting things? Dressing up? Playing make-believe?" I stared at her, fork frozen halfway to my mouth. She leaned in, eyes sparkling. "Jason, is there something you want to tell me?" I opened my mouth, closed it again. The words clawed at my throat, desperate to come out. But terror held them back. Confess and lose her. Stay silent and live in fear. Either way, I was trapped. Emma watched me calmly, patiently, like a cat watching a mouse dig its own grave. Finally, I managed a strangled laugh. "No, nothing like that." For a moment, just a moment, disappointment flickered across her face. But it was gone so fast I might have imagined it. She shrugged and finished her dinner like nothing had happened. But I knew better. The trap was already set, and I had walked straight into it. The next evening, Emma texted me while I was at work. "Date night. Dress nice. I've got something special planned. Red heart." A cold dread settled over me. I knew what this was. It wasn't a date. It was a reckoning. Still, I had no choice but to go along. When I got home, she was waiting, stunning in a little black dress and heels, her makeup perfect, her smile blinding. She handed me a shopping bag. "Go change," she said, eyes glittering. I picked it out special. My hands trembled as I took the bag. I already knew what I would find inside. Inside was a dress.
Pink. Tight. Flirty.
Stockings. Heels. Makeup. Everything I had tried so hard to hide. Laid bare. My heart hammered against my ribs. I looked up at her, pleading silently. Her smile never wavered. "Go on," she said sweetly. "I want to see you." There was no point pretending anymore. No point lying. Emma knew. She had known for a while. And now, she was making it clear. She was in charge. Slowly, mechanically, I carried the bag into the bedroom and changed. The dress clung to me like a second skin. The heels forced me to walk differently, hips swaying, legs trembling. I applied the makeup as best I could with shaking hands, my reflection slowly morphing into the forbidden fantasy I had tried so hard to bury. When I finally stepped out, Emma let out a low whistle. "Damn," she said, licking her lips. "You look delicious." I flushed scarlet, my entire body burning with shame, and something else. Something I didn't dare name. She sauntered over, tilting my chin up with one manicured finger. "From now on," she purred, "this is who you are." I shivered. She leaned in close, her breath hot against my ear. "And you're going to love it." Emma circled me like a shark scenting blood. "You look so pretty," she said, tracing a finger down my arm. "But you're missing something." She disappeared into the closet and returned with a long, blonde wig. My heart nearly stopped. "No," I croaked, stepping back instinctively. Her smile sharpened. "Yes." She perched the wig on my head with delicate, practiced fingers, adjusting it until the glossy curls framed my face perfectly. "There," she breathed. "My perfect little Barbie." I stared at myself in the mirror, hardly recognizing the creature that stared back. Long blonde hair, big, wide eyes with heavy lashes, glossy pink lips, a flirty pink dress that barely covered my thighs. I looked fake. Perfect. Exactly what she wanted. Exactly what I had secretly wanted, too. And now it was no longer a secret. Emma stood behind me, wrapping her arms around my waist. "You're mine now," she whispered. "And you're going to behave, aren't you?" I nodded numbly. "Say it," she demanded. "I'm yours," I whispered. Louder. "I'm yours," I said again, voice trembling. "Good girl," she cooed. I shuddered. "You didn't think we were staying in, did you?" Emma asked sweetly. My stomach twisted. No, Emma, please not outside. But she was already pulling me toward the door. Relax, she said, laughing. It's just a little party. You'll fit right in. I fought her every step of the way, but it was no use. She was stronger, not physically, but emotionally. She held all the cards now, and she knew exactly how to play me. The car ride was a blur of panic and humiliation. I kept my head down, terrified of being seen. Emma, meanwhile, hummed happily, one hand resting possessively on my thigh. You're going to be such a hit, she said. I can't wait to show you off. I wanted to die. A rival. When we pulled up to the house, my heart nearly gave out. It was packed. Dozens of people spilled out onto the lawn, drinking, laughing, shouting. And here I was, a fake, plastic, painted doll, about to be paraded in front of them. Emma practically dragged me inside. Heads turned immediately. I caught snippets of conversation as we passed. Whoa, who's the new girl? Damn, she's hot. Look at those legs. I wanted to melt into the floor. But Emma beamed, holding my hand tightly, steering me through the crowd like I was her prized show pony. She led me to a group of her friends, girls I barely knew, but who all looked me up and down with wicked grins. This, Emma announced, is Barbie. There was a beat of stunned silence. Then laughter, bright, cruel, and victorious. They surrounded me, fawning over my dress, my hair, my makeup, touching, tweaking, adjusting. I stood frozen, too humiliated to move. You're adorable, one girl gushed. I love your look, another said, smirking. You must let us dress you up more often, a third chimed in. Emma laughed. Oh, don't worry. She's going to be our little doll from now on. The girls squealed in delight. And just like that, my fate was sealed. Night was a blur of lipstick touch-ups, outfit tweaks, endless compliments disguised as mockery. They paraded me around like a trophy. They made me pose for pictures, pouting, blowing kisses, twirling. Every flash of a camera felt like another nail in my coffin. But the worst was yet to come. At some point, someone cranked up the music. And before I knew it, I was being pulled onto the makeshift dance floor. Dance, Barbie, someone shouted. Show us what you've got. Emma pushed me forward with a wicked grin. I stumbled into the center of the room, surrounded by cheering, leering faces. Frozen. Petrified. Emma stepped up beside me, her hand sliding up my thigh. Move, Barbie, she whispered in my ear. Or I'll move you. The threat was clear. So, trembling, I began to dance.
Badly. Awkwardly.
The crowd roared with laughter and cheers. I could feel the dress riding up, the heels wobbling, the wig slipping slightly. I was a joke.
A toy.
Exactly what Emma wanted. Exactly what I deserved. As I twirled and stumbled under the blazing lights, something inside me cracked. I wasn't Jason anymore. Not really. Jason wouldn't be here, in a dress, in heels, in makeup, dancing like a trained monkey for a crowd of strangers.
No.
Jason was dead. All that remained was Barbie. A pretty, helpless plaything. And somewhere deep inside, a tiny, traitorous part of me liked it. Liked being helpless. Liked being controlled. Liked being pretty. At the end of the night, after what felt like a lifetime, Emma dragged me into a dark corner of the backyard. I was shaking, on the verge of tears. She cupped my face in her hands, forcing me to look at her. You did so good, baby, she murmured. You made me so proud. I whimpered. She kissed me, hard, possessive. When she pulled away, her eyes glittered with victory. From now on, she said, you're mine to dress. Mine to control. Mine to break. I swallowed hard. And nodded. There was no point fighting anymore. Emma had won.
And I
was hers. Forever. The morning after the party, I woke up still in full Barbie mode. Makeup smeared. Wig askew. Dress wrinkled around my waist. Emma sat at the foot of the bed, smiling sweetly. Too sweetly. Good morning, Barbie, she said, handing me a thick stack of papers. I blinked at it groggily. What's this? She leaned in, her voice dripping with venomous sugar. Your new life. I scanned the papers, heart pounding harder with each word.
It was a contract.
Not legally binding, maybe, but emotionally, psychologically, absolutely ironclad. I was to live full-time as Barbie. Emma controlled what I wore, how I spoke, how I moved. I was forbidden to remove makeup, wigs, or feminine clothing without her permission. Any disobedience would be punished creatively. And at the bottom, failure to comply means full exposure. There were photos attached, hundreds of them. Me dancing, me posing, me blowing kisses to the camera. Emma's friends had captured every humiliating moment from the party. If these ever leaked, I would be destroyed.
Permanently.
I stared at the contract, trembling. Emma placed a glittery pink pen in my hand. "Sign it," she said gently. I shook my head. Tears blurred my vision. I can't. Her hand clamped down on mine, forcing me to grip the pen. "You can," she whispered. "You will." I looked into her eyes. There was no mercy there, only cold, ruthless satisfaction. Slowly, with a hand that wasn't entirely my own, I signed.
Barbie.
Not Jason.
Barbie.
The pen slipped from my fingers and clattered to the floor. It was done. I was hers.
Completely.
Emma clapped her hands like a child at Christmas. "Good girl," she chirped. "Now, let's get you ready." Ready for what? I didn't even have time to ask. She yanked me off the bed and dragged me to the vanity. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. It was a blur. Hair extensions instead of just a wig. Heavier makeup. A tighter dress. Higher heels. By the time she was done, I looked even less human. More like a living doll. Fake, flawless, hollow. Then she pulled out the next horror. A tiny, frilly pink maid outfit. "You have chores, Barbie," she said sweetly. "You want to be a good girl, don't you?" I whimpered. "Answer me." "Why, yes," I whispered. "Yes, what?" she pressed. "Yes, Miss Emma." "Good." She snapped a collar around my neck. Pink leather, a little silver heart dangling from the front. It read, "Property of Emma." I wanted to scream. Instead, I curtsied. The motion drilled into me now and began cleaning as she lounged on the couch, sipping coffee and barking orders. "Faster, Barbie." "Smile, Barbie." "Show some leg, Barbie." Every command stripped another piece of my old self away. And the scariest part? It was getting easier. Emma didn't stop at just one night of humiliation. No, that was only the beginning. She started throwing Barbie parties, inviting her friends over weekly to play dress up with me. Each week, they pushed the envelope further. New outfits, latex catsuits, cheerleader uniforms, lingerie. New skills, pole dancing, makeup tutorials, girly gossip sessions. New humiliations, makeup touch-ups in public bathrooms, flirty Instagram lives. Each time, I protested a little less. Each time, I submitted a little faster. Each time, Barbie buried Jason a little deeper. Until Jason was nothing but a memory, a distant dream, crushed under pink heels and glittery lip gloss. The deepest betrayal. One night, after a particularly brutal training session, Emma pulled me into her lap like a rag doll. "You know," she murmured, stroking my fake blonde curls, "I used to love Jason." I blinked up at her, lips trembling. "But he hurt me," she continued, voice dripping with mock sadness. "So I killed him." She grinned down at me. "And you are the apology." I sobbed silently into her chest, feeling the last pieces of my real self crumble away. Emma didn't comfort me. She just rocked me like a doll. Her doll. Her Barbie. Forever. Something shifted permanently after that night. I stopped resisting. Stopped hoping. Stopped dreaming of escape. Emma would dress me, paint me, pose me, and I would smile. Not because I wanted to, but because it was who I was now. Barbie. Not Jason. Never Jason again. Final act. On the anniversary of the day she caught me cheating, Emma threw a massive party. Everyone was there. Old friends. New ones. And me front and center. In a glittering pink ball gown, 5-inch stilettos, Flawless drag queen makeup. Emma gave a toast. To forgiveness, she said, raising her glass. Everyone laughed. Then she turned to me. And to Barbie, the best little toy a girl could ever have. I curtsied low, my heart hollow. The crowd cheered. The cameras flashed. And somewhere deep inside, Jason's last whisper of resistance died forever. After the party, life blurred into a syrupy pink nightmare. I wasn't allowed to leave the house without Emma's permission. Even inside, there were rules. Full makeup at all times. High heels unless sleeping. Speaking only in a soft, girly voice. Addressing Emma as mistress when in private. The old me, the defiant, proud Jason, was nothing but a ghost. In his place stood Barbie. Obedient.
Pretty. Perfect.
The saddest part? I had stopped missing him. Emma didn't just change my looks. She rewired my mind. She made me practice walking in 7-inch stilettos until my calves screamed. She forced me to watch makeup tutorials for hours and recreate the looks blindfolded. She made me rehearse flirting, giggling, posing, until it became second nature. When I slipped up, even slightly, she punished me. Tighter corsets. Longer periods locked in chastity belts. Public humiliation at the hands of her friends. Each punishment drilled the lesson deeper. Jason was dead. Barbie was all that remained. The real breaking point came one humid Saturday afternoon. Emma decided it was time for Barbie to see the world. Not hidden behind dark sunglasses or oversized hats. No, she wanted a real debut. She took me to the mall. Full glam. Tight pink dress. 6-inch heels. Bouncing blonde curls. Gigantic fake eyelashes. I begged with my eyes as we stood at the entrance. Emma only smiled and looped her arm through mine. Smile, Barbie, she ordered.
I did. Somehow.
Inside, every eye turned toward us. Whispers buzzed. Snickers.
Catcalls.
Phone cameras. It didn't matter. Emma strutted like a queen, dragging me along like her prize poodle. And me? I followed, wobbling on impossible heels, blushing under layers of makeup, smiling. Because Barbie always smiles. We stopped in front of a lingerie store. Emma shoved a lacy pink bra and panty set into my hands.
Go try it on, she commanded.
I hesitated. 1 second.
2.
She leaned down, whispering against my ear. If you don't, everyone will know exactly what you are. Tears burned behind my lashes. I stumbled into the changing room, clutching the humiliating lingerie like a lifeline. And in the mirror, under the sickly fluorescent lights, I saw myself. Not Jason. Not a man.
A doll.
A painted, plastic, pretty thing.
Barbie.
I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just slipped into the lingerie and posed automatically. Head tilted. Smile bright. Dead inside. And that's when I knew. There was no escape. There never had been. Now every day blends into the next. Wake up.
Shave. Tuck. Paint. Pose.
Eat dainty meals. Practice smiling. Work on my posture. Kiss Emma's feet, literally and figuratively. Thank her for turning me into her perfect toy. Because what choice do I have? I'm not Jason. I'm Barbie. Always Barbie. Forever Barbie. One night, Emma sat me down in front of a mirror. I was in full glam. Platinum blonde curls, butterfly lashes, pouty pink lips. She draped a gold chain around my neck. A locket. Inside, on one side, was a picture of me, as Barbie, blowing a kiss at the camera. On the other side, engraved words. Jason, born a man, died a doll. Emma snapped it closed with a smile. There, she said, kissing my forehead. Now you'll never forget. I stared at my reflection, at the glossy lips, the hollow eyes, the glittering locket, and I whispered the truth aloud, sealing my fate forever. I am Barbie. Some days, I almost forget there was ever another life. When I catch my reflection, pouting pink lips, thick lashes batting innocently, my curves hugging tight dresses, it's hard to imagine Jason ever existed. The boy who used to laugh too loudly, who flirted shamelessly, who thought he could get away with anything.
He's gone.
In his place stands Barbie. Barbie doesn't laugh unless Emma allows it. Barbie doesn't flirt unless instructed. Barbie exists solely to be pretty, obedient, and perfect. And the scariest part? It feels natural now. Comfortable. Like slipping into a skin that was waiting for me all along. At night, when the house is quiet and Emma's friends have all gone home, I sometimes sit by the window, wearing pink satin pajamas, hair in perfect curls, nails manicured to glossy perfection. I watch the world outside. Normal people. Men in jeans. Women in sneakers.
Free.
Untouched. Living. I could cry if I wanted. But Barbie doesn't cry. Barbie smiles. Always smiles. And somewhere deep inside, a whisper reminds me, you chose this. I chose to betray Emma. I chose to play with fire. And now, I'm wearing my punishment like a second skin. Last week, Emma came home with a surprise. A certificate. Official and notarized. It read, legal name change, Barbie Monroe. My heart punched against my ribs when I read it. You're mine now, Emma said sweetly, brushing a golden curl behind my ear. Legally.
Publicly.
Permanently. She wasn't asking. She was declaring. And all I could do was nod and say, thank you, mistress. Because that's what Barbie would do. That's what I had to do. Sometimes, when Emma isn't looking, I allow myself one dangerous, treasonous thought. Maybe one day I'll break free. Maybe one day I'll slip out of these heels, rip off these lashes, and walk into the sun as Jason again. Maybe. But then I see the locket around my neck. Feel the tug of the tight corset cinching my waist. Smell the sickly sweet perfume that clings to my skin. And I know the truth. There's no going back. Not really. Jason is dead. Barbie lives. And deep down, buried under fear, shame, and glitter, a tiny part of me likes it. If you had told Jason that he would one day become his girlfriend's living doll, he would have laughed in your face, mocked you, brushed you off.
But now?
Barbie knows better. Barbie knows that actions have consequences. Barbie knows that some mistakes are paid for with your whole identity. Barbie knows that sometimes the cage becomes the comfort. And as I blow a kiss to my reflection, pouty lips shimmering with gloss, I whisper the words that seal my fate. Thank you, mistress, for making me who I was always meant to be. The mirror smiles back.
Perfect.
Plastic.
Pretty.
Forever Barbie.